When was the last time you actually went to bed feeling okay? Not collapsed into it. Not face down on your phone until your eyes gave out. Not lying there mentally replaying everything that went wrong, everything you didn't finish, everyone you're quietly worried about. I mean genuinely, quietly okay. At peace. Ready. If you're struggling to remember, yeah, you're not broken. You're not unusually anxious. You just haven't been given the right information about what actually happens inside your brain in the hour before you sleep, and how completely that hour shapes who you are when you wake up. That's what I want to walk through with you tonight. Not a wellness hack listicle, not 7 steps to a perfect morning, something more specific. The actual neuroscience of what happens between the moment you close your eyes and the moment you open them, and why 5 deliberate minutes before that transition can change nearly everything about the version of you that shows up tomorrow. Let me start with a picture. It's 10:30 at night. You're in bed. Phone is face down, or maybe it isn't, and you're just lying there thinking. Not about anything useful. The meeting that felt slightly off. The message you never replied to. That thing you said 3 years ago that your brain apparently still hasn't filed away. Tomorrow's tasks spinning in the background like a loading wheel that never resolves. This is where most people's nights actually begin. Not with sleep, with noise. And here's the thing most people never understand about that noise. It isn't random. It isn't weakness. It's your brain doing exactly what it was built to do, trying to resolve open loops, unfinished tasks, unanswered questions, unprocessed emotions. Your brain is a pattern completion machine, and when the day ends before it's finished the patterns, it keeps working, keeps searching, and that searching is what keeps you awake. Now let's go deeper, because what happens next, heal, while you sleep, is genuinely one of the most fascinating things I've come across. Sleep supports memory consolidation, the process where newly formed memories get stabilized and integrated. But it doesn't do this randomly. Increased activity in the amygdala and across mesolimbic dopaminergic regions during REM sleep promotes the consolidation of memory traces with high emotional or motivational value. Read that again slowly. Your sleeping brain isn't a passive recorder, it's an active editor. And what it chooses to keep, to strengthen, to wire more deeply into you, NAMs, is guided by emotional weight. The things that carried a charge when you experience them are the things your brain prioritizes overnight. This matters more than almost anything else I'll say here, because it means the emotional tone you carry into sleep is not just a feeling, it's a filter. It determines which parts of your day get reinforced, which patterns get carved more deeply, which version of yourself your brain decides to strengthen overnight. Sleep and dreaming may offer a neurobehavioral substrate for the offline reprocessing of emotions, associative learning, and exploratory behaviors, resulting in improved memory organization, emotion regulation, social skills, and creativity. You are not just sleeping, you are being rebuilt every single night. And I need you to really hear that. Who you wake up as tomorrow isn't entirely decided by what happens after you close your eyes. A big part of it is decided by what you do in the 5 minutes before. So what do most people actually do in those 5 minutes? A National Sleep Foundation poll found that roughly 95% of Americans use technology in the last hour before the lights go out. 95%. Kanding Keat. And what is technology giving us in that window? Bright screens, blue light, endless notifications. It keeps your mind in a state of heightened alertness, making it harder to transition into restful sleep. But here's what really gets me. It's not just that screens keep you awake longer. It's what they do to the emotional content you carry into sleep. You scroll through bad news. You compare yourself to highlight reels. You read something that makes you anxious or irritated or both. And then you wonder why you don't wake up feeling restored. You've handed your sleeping brain-charged material, negative, unresolved, emotionally heavy material, and your brain, loyal, diligent, doing exactly what it was designed to do, warmth, spent the night reinforcing it. That's the mechanism. That's the thing most people have never been told. Now here's where it gets interesting. I've been paying close attention to a body of research that points towards something deceptively simple, and it's the turning point I didn't expect to find. Research from Baylor University suggests that spending just 5 minutes writing a to-do list before bed can help you fall asleep faster. In a study of 57 young adults, writing to-do lists, rather than writing about completed tasks, helped people fall asleep an average of 9 minutes faster, about 16 minutes versus 25. 9 minutes. That sounds small. But think about what 9 minutes of lying awake actually is. That's the difference between drifting off easily and lying awake long enough to start catastrophizing. And the reason it works isn't mystical. It's cognitive offloading. Writing externalizes the mental loops, keeping your working memory active at night, freeing your brain to downshift into sleep. Future tasks are the open loops, or items your brain flags as not yet resolved. Keep monitoring. A to-do list closes those loops by transferring the monitoring function from your brain to the paper. You're not solving the problem. You're just telling your brain the problem has been registered, that it doesn't have to keep watching. And your brain, relieved of that duty, can finally let go. But there's a second part to this, and this is the one that changes the morning. The relationship between gratitude and sleep variables, quality, duration, onset, is mediated by more positive pre-sleep cognitions and fewer negative ones. That's from published research in psychosomatic medicine, and the translation is pretty straightforward. What you think about in the dark before sleep isn't just a mood. It's a variable that directly predicts how well you sleep and how you feel when you wake. According to Robert Emmons, psychology professor and one of the world's leading researchers on gratitude, jotting down a few reasons to feel thankful before bed can contribute to better quality sleep. And a number of studies back this up. Gratitude promotes physiologically restorative behaviors, chief among them being sleep. Interventions involving daily gratitude exercises tend to yield the most consistent positive effects on sleep quality, improvements in duration, sleep latency, and reductions in daytime dysfunction. And I want you to sit with this for a second, because most people hear gratitude journaling and they roll their eyes a little. I did too, honestly. It sounds like something printed on a decorative pillow. It doesn't sound like neuroscience, but it is. In one study, participants kept a gratitude journal for a week and were tested before and after for optimism and psychological well-being. There was a significant increase in both after just 1 week. What was striking was how much the optimism scores jumped, supporting the idea that practicing gratitude can genuinely start to reprogram how your mind defaults. 1 week, not 6 months, not a complete personality overhaul. 1 week of writing 3 things down before bed. So here's the 5 minutes, the actual routine. And I want to describe it the way it really works, or not the way wellness content usually packages it. You pick up a pen, not a phone, pen and paper, kneel, because the physical act of writing is itself important. It slows you down. It forces you to actually think, rather than type reflexively. First 2 minutes, your to-do list for tomorrow. Not a paragraph, just the specific tasks sitting unresolved in your head. The things your brain has been quietly monitoring all evening. You write them down. You're signaling to your nervous system that these things have been seen, acknowledged, parked. Most people just cycle through their tasks mentally. The she writing them down counteracts that. It stops the loop. Then you shift. Next 2 minutes, 3 things from today that were genuinely okay. They don't have to be profound. A good coffee. A conversation that went well. A moment of quiet. Something you handled better than you expected. Research on college students found that those who wrote about positive experiences before bed experienced less worry, slept longer, and reported better overall sleep quality. Then, 1 minute, just 60 seconds, 1 sentence, something you're looking forward to tomorrow, not a grand hope, something real and small, a meal you're going to eat, a song you'll play on your commute, a task you actually want to do. That's it. 5 minutes. 2 for offloading. 2 for gratitude. 1 for anticipation. And what you've done in those 5 minutes is actually kind of remarkable. You've cleared the open loops, so your brain doesn't have to keep monitoring. You've ended the day with positive emotional content. Real, specific, true content, which your brain will now treat as priority material during consolidation. And you've given yourself something small to move toward, which research on motivation consistently shows resets your psychological sense of momentum and agency. Sleep plays a huge role in the regulation of neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that facilitate communication between brain cells. Serotonin and dopamine, both closely tied to mood and happiness, are particularly affected by sleep patterns. Sufficient sleep helps maintain healthy levels of both, contributing to that sense of general okayness when you wake up. You can't hack serotonin. You can't force dopamine. But you can give your brain the conditions under which it naturally produces them. And those conditions start the night before. When you repeat the same pre-bed sequence, your brain starts connecting those actions with sleep. The routine becomes a signal. Over time, your brain begins to anticipate rest the moment you pick up the pen. The transition into sleep gets faster, smoother, more natural, not because of willpower, because of conditioning, because that's just how brains work. And that right there is kind of everything. The reason you wake up heavy, fogged, vaguely anxious, the reason mornings feel like something to survive rather than begin, is often not about the morning at all. It's about what you handed your brain the night before. The last emotional input before sleep isn't just a feeling you fall asleep with. It's the raw material your brain uses to build tomorrow's version of you. 5 minutes. A pen. The specific, honest, small truths of what your day actually contained. The unfinished tasks, acknowledged and parked. The things that were good, written down, and remembered. Something small to move toward. Your brain does the rest. That's its job. And when you give it the right material to work with, it does that job really, really well. The version of you who wakes up tomorrow isn't entirely out of your hands. It starts tonight.